Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's December 3rd, so it is time for my November wrap up and my December TBR. Last month I did a random number generator to select my TBR, but this month I have a few books that I'm just really excited to get to, so I kind of wanted to pick my own books this month just because I have some holiday seasonal reads that I want to get to, as well as a couple series that I'm excited for. So I'll go back to the random number generator or using a TBR jar probably for January, but with just this being more of a mood reading month with the holidays, like I said, I just have some books that were already on my radar. So let's just jump right into the video and start with what books I read in November. In November, I felt like I read a ton of books, but looking back, I read 3 books and 1 novella, so it wasn't as big of a reading month as I thought. The first book of the month I think took the first half of the month to read, and that was a book that I had to read for school. I had to read a book and write a paper about it, make a presentation, and I read Hitler's Charisma. This was just about how he got people to follow him, and how his traits that helped him to become a leader ended up being the same traits that made him fail. But yeah, so this one, it read a little bit like a textbook, and because I was trying to write a paper at the same time, I think it just took a lot of time and a lot of brain power. I didn't give this one a rating just because I don't like to rate nonfiction, but overall, like I said, it read a little bit like a textbook, but it was still interesting enough that I didn't feel super burnt out at the end of reading this. It didn't feel like some textbooks do. Then I think I tried to get back into Iron Flame again. I took a break for a couple of months, and I tried to get back into it this month to see if maybe I was in the right mindset now that I'd read this book for school. But I don't know, I want to get back to it at some point. The next books I read, I think each of them in less than a week. And the first one that I read was When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and I really enjoyed this book. I think this has been my favorite book of hers so far. I've read this one, and then I read the cheat sheet and the rule book, and so those ones were kind of like a sports romance type, but they're all very rom-com, very fun. But this one was a pop star and a small town baker, and just the banter in here, and he was grumpy and she was so bubbly, but at the same time she had quite a bit going on and was just trying to escape her life. I don't know, I definitely really enjoyed this one. I'm excited to read Practice Makes Perfect is the second one. I think it's about his sister, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this little small town goes. So I think she's coming out with a 3rd book that's, I think, following one of his other sisters, so I'd be really happy if we end up getting all 4 of the family's stories at some point. But it's just such a sweet small town with them making pies, and the small town. It was a really good book to read right before Thanksgiving. I read this the week before Thanksgiving. I think I rated this one a 4-star. It's a rom-com, so it's very light, it's very easy to read, but there's also not a lot of depth, so it's hard for me to rate rom-coms above a 4-star. So I rated this one 4 stars, but I'm so excited to read more books by her, more books in this series. And yeah, I feel like her books are always just ones that I fly through, I have a good time. There's not really much to them. The next book that I read, this one I read I think in actually just about 3 days, which surprised me because I started reading it the day before Thanksgiving because I was off work, and then we went and visited family for Thanksgiving, and I kind of woke up the day after Thanksgiving and everyone else was still sleeping, and I read the last 150 pages of the book just that morning. But that is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This is the second book of hers that I've read that wasn't in the Housemaid trilogy. I read The Boyfriend last month, but so far this one has absolutely been my favorite read by her. I picked it up because I heard that it was a very wintry like atmosphere because they're trapped in this house in the middle of winter. And I think the favorite part for me about this was that I kind of thought I knew where it was going, and then I was completely wrong. Like, there were so many twists at the end and so many things that happened that I did not expect. But also, I really liked the like past and present point of view of the psychiatrist who lived in the house that they were like stranded in, and like she went missing, and so then they were staying there and they ended up finding her tapes of like her appointments with patients. And so some of it was told in like transcripts of recordings, and so that was really interesting. I don't know what I ended up rating this one, but I'm gonna say it's 5 stars because, like I said, this is my favorite book by her so far. I think I may have even liked this one better than the original Housemaid book, but I don't know, those two I feel like are both very, very good books by her. And then the novella that I read this month was The Housemaid's Wedding by Free McFadden. It's like the little novella that she wrote that goes between the second and third books, because there's like I think it was like a 10-year time gap or something like that between those. I think it was like 70 or 80 pages. I really honestly did not like it. It was not what I was expecting. It was, I don't know, it just felt very unnecessary. I understand it was a novella, and I love her writing. I will read everything that she writes, but I was happy with the story for The Housemaid where it left off after book 2. The third book was fine. I think I rated it like a 3-star as well. Like I said, I would read every single one of her books, but they just weren't necessary. Like, I probably wouldn't recommend those ones. It's hard to really do a good mystery in a short story, but those were the books that I read. But I wanted to mention that because I've read before, Amazon has some like short stories, and I read in the spring, they have like a little like rom-com short story set, but I saw that they have one for like mysteries and thrillers, and that wasn't on my TBR. But now that I mentioned that I read that novella, and I think it's hard to write like a mystery thriller novella, now I'm intrigued to see like how those authors did. And yeah, so that's the first one. And then the second one that I'm actually going to talk about right now, because it's on the same topic, is Amazon has a like Christmas rom-com short story set, and I'm really excited to read those. I'm saving those ones for when I fly back home to visit family, because I can read them on my Kindle. And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a number of my books were picked because I can read them on the Kindle, so I don't have to bring a ton of books with me when I travel, because I'm going to be gone for a week, and because I'm traveling back to Iowa where it's cold, like I'm going to need as much room in my suitcase as I can for clothes, because sweaters and everything take up so much space. And then I have 5 books on my physical TBR, and I know I'm not going to get to all of them, but they're just kind of on my radar for now. One of them I want to get to it, but I know I'm not going to, and that is Caraval. I think it would be such a fun book to read in Christmas time, just because, I don't know, I feel like it feels like a winter read to me. But maybe I'll read this like right after Christmas. I'll see what I can get through before, and then I could read this one afterwards. But I've heard the audiobook for this book is really good, so I'm probably going to utilize that. But I have the whole series. I want to read the whole series at some point, and I just feel like wintertime is going to be the perfect time to do it. And if I don't read it this winter, then I'm probably not going to read it again until at least next winter. And I want to get this off my physical TBR. And it sounds interesting. I've heard really good things about it. I think I would really enjoy it. I just need to actually do it. So the reason why I don't think I'm going to get to Caraval is yesterday I started Shadow and Bone, and I am on page 88 right now, and I'm hoping to try to read the whole series this month. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be kind of just hanging out with my parents, and when they're working, I'm not going to be doing too much, so I'll probably just honestly sit at home and read, which I am perfectly happy with. And I don't know, I kind of had my boyfriend pick this book for me. I had a stack of a couple of like fantasy short series and like trilogies, duologies, and I kind of read him the descriptions of each one. It was this one, Caraval, Lightlark, and I don't remember what the last one was now, but he chose this one because he knows that I love Six of Crows by the same author, and he was like, I think you should read the one by the author that you already know that you love. He said that one sounds interesting and you already know that you like that author, so I picked it up. Yeah, I'm really excited to get this one. Again, this is one that I own all 3 books. They've been on my bookshelf for a few years now. I bought them like right after I finished Six of Crows, but I kind of wanted to wait a while because I didn't want this one to like feel like a letdown if I didn't like it as much as Six of Crows. So now that I've spaced it out, I'm really excited to get to it. So then the next one is another one that's not a holiday book. I have a couple holiday books that I'm going to save for the end, but I would also really like to try to get to the Natural series. I've read the first book already, so I want to try to get to the second one this month. I think this would be a good alternative to reading like a mystery or thriller this month. It's a little bit more cozy, a little bit lower stakes, and I really enjoyed the first book, so I think, like I said, this would just be a good time to finish this. I'm just really in the mood for like shorter series, really getting to know characters, but not being like too overwhelmed. Like that's why I wanted to look for a shorter fantasy series. Last 2 that I want to get to are some Christmas reads. I have one more too that's on my Kindle that I want to read that I'm excited because I already have it downloaded. I've already read the first 2 in the series, and that's The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. I wouldn't say I loved the first 2 books, but they were very cozy, they were very atmospheric. I think they're very well written small town holiday books. So I'm excited for that one, and then I also have The Holiday Swap and The Christmas Fix. These ones are ones that I picked up a couple weeks ago at Barnes & Noble because I want to like take a physical book home with me, and I figured one of these Christmas ones would be perfect for that. So I will decide probably like right before I leave which one sounds better and which one I'm more in the mood for. But they were buy one get one 50% off, so I picked up 2 even though I was only planning on getting 1. I haven't read anything by either of these authors, but I've heard lots of really good things about Lucy Scored. This one intimidates me a little bit more because it's a little bit of a thicker book, especially for like a holiday book. I usually think those ones tend to be shorter. I'm excited for holiday reads. I'm excited for lots of short novellas, short stories, but I have my 5 books on my physical TBR, and then like I said, lots on my Kindle that I am excited to get to. And I really think this is going to be a giant reading month for me. I am really excited for all of these books. If there is a specific book on here that you guys are excited, if you guys have read, leave it in the comments below. I love just, I don't know, I feel like I thrive off of knowing that someone else liked a book. It makes me want to read it even more. But also, if you haven't read any of these books, what is a book that you guys are most excited to read this month? I feel like I don't normally read like holiday books. I've only ever read the holidays before now. So I'm really excited to kind of dip my toes into more just fun holiday rom-coms. I want it to feel like a Hallmark movie, but I didn't really know where to start, so I picked up some that I just heard a number of people talk about. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post videos every single week about books and bookish related things. But I will see you guys next time. Bye!